U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe. I'm here live to take your U.S. immigration related questions. Go ahead and put your questions in the comments as soon as you join me. I have a good topic and I'm going to try to keep it short today because my time is limited and I want to leave room for your questions. So, the topic I want to talk about today is the topic of whether you should go with VAWA. That's the process of applying without the spouse who's mistreating you, or whether you should go with marriage. Go with the spouse. Let the spouse apply for you. Now, the option is yours. You don't have to wait for something extreme to happen, like the spouse to refuse to go to the interview with you, or the spouse to withdraw the marriage-based papers to apply for VAWA. You don't have to wait till it gets to crisis level. And as a matter of fact, I highly recommend you don't, because when it gets to the point where it's at a crisis level, it means that your case is going to get more complex, right? Now you have a marriage-based process going. Maybe the spouse didn't show up. Maybe the spouse intentionally told the officer lies that the marriage isn't real to sabotage you. At that point, now you're looking at possible fraud accusations and an outright denial. This is why I say VAWA is better and the choice is yours if your spouse is mistreating you. And this is if your spouse is mistreating you. This is not if you want to just go ahead and apply without your spouse, because that if you want to avoid anything like that happening where the spouse starts to mistreat you. Of course, the spouse has to be mistreating you for you to get this, right? For you to apply. But if that is happening, then you have the option between VAWA, and you could always choose to go with the spouse. But guess what? As the attorney who has seen this time and time, I don't even, when I talk to individuals and I sense that they're not together as a team, I sense that the spouse may give some problems, the citizen spouse may give some problems, that I may even, sometimes I even sense that there is some mistreatment going on. They're not on the same pages. I don't accept the case. The reason I don't accept the case is because I know what can happen throughout the process, that this spouse is going to start pulling out of the process. They're not going to cooperate. They're going to start stressing out the immigrant spouse. I know that they are not going to succeed, and I don't take cases like this that I don't believe in. And if I believe that that citizen spouse is not going to take it all the way, I don't want to be a part of it, right? And this is where I say the choice is yours. The choice is yours to apply for VAWA before any of that happens. So sometimes people will talk to me about what's happening with the spouse, and they will tell me all the red flags. And right off the bat, I can tell them as the attorney, I've seen this before, and they have the option to apply for VAWA instead, because when they come to me, they will be talking about what do they need for their process, and then they end up opening up about the spouse, the fact that the spouse isn't cooperating, the spouse is holding their immigration status over their head. And that's where I have to point out to them that you're not going to succeed. This spouse is going to sabotage you, right? Because I know all the warning signs, I know all the red flags. And so when I feel very strongly about this and I'm helping an individual to evaluate their best options possible, where they're going to succeed, this is where I advise them about the VAWA process, that if they're going through this mistreatment where they're being emotionally mistreated, verbally mistreated, manipulated, they're being controlled, they're being subjected to extreme cruelty when the spouse is holding their immigration status over their heads, I know that this is going to be VAWA and not marriage-based process. And I also represent people who they go all the way to the interview, and guess what? The spouse doesn't show up, or the spouse goes in, and now because the spouse wants to be vindictive, they tell the officers that, oh, they were just helping out their spouse, and that wasn't true. And now we have to look at possible fraud accusations, right? From immigration, you have to fight the fraud accusations in addition to applying for VAWA. So if you are in a situation where you qualify for either VAWA or you qualify to go and beg the spouse to continue with you and be subjected to their extreme cruelty, choose VAWA. VAWA is going to be what you have to do. It's a 2.5 year process, but with this over this 2.5 year process, you're gonna have peace. You have independence. You don't have to worry about if this spouse is gonna pull out at any time, or if this spouse is gonna write immigration, or if this spouse is gonna call immigration on you. You sign your own papers, and it is confidential. And this is why it's the better route for you. Now, you can apply for this if you are currently with your spouse and they are mistreating you. You can still apply for this. The immigration still won't. They have you designate a safe address where all your mail goes to that safe address to protect it from being sent to, or prevent it from being sent to someone you don't want to know that you're going through the VAWA. I also use my address as a safe address for my clients while they're going through the process. And if they're in a situation, regardless, we use our address as a safe address. But especially for our clients that are currently still in the situation. So that's it. With VAWA, it's over 2.5 years, but you do get your work permit and your travel document at the 6 month mark, 6 month to 12 month mark. You do get your work permit and your travel document, and we apply for all of that for our clients. So it helps to stabilize you, get you settled while you wait for the entire process to be completed to get your green card. This also some people think they have to go with the spouse, or they have to go with the spouse's cell process because maybe they cross the border without permission, and so it's going to be the best route to go with the spouse. However, under VAWA, even if you cross the border without permission and even if you overstayed, you can still qualify for this relief. So this is why I'm saying VAWA is better than marriage. And VAWA is better than marriage. Not now, if you are not being mistreated by your spouse and you're just thinking you want to apply without being married, this is the VAWA is not for you. If you're being mistreated, mistreatment doesn't mean physical. It doesn't mean you have to call the police. Mistreatment means verbal, emotional, mental, and physical, even if it's physical. But we have represented clients where it's solely based on emotional mistreatment and extreme cruelty. Even the fact that if they threaten your immigration status, that's extreme cruelty. No spouse should do that. That in no way is that acceptable treatment of your spouse, for any spouse at any point to threaten your immigration status. All right. So if you want to get in touch, go to the link in the profile. It's on Instagram. Go to the description of the video on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. You'll see everything you need to schedule your own appointment or call the office. Today's Friday, so you want to make sure if you want to get in touch, do it now so we can get you on my schedule and get started. Keep in mind that my schedule is filling up, so I want to make sure I get to you and I help you. So take the step to schedule your appointment now because those times are going quickly. All right, so now let me go to questions very quickly. I have 3 minutes and then I have to head out. So I'm gonna go ahead and answer questions I see on YouTube and on Instagram. So let's go. What happens after your VAWA petition has been approved? Then it's going to move you right over to the green card process. As long as you filed adjustment of status with your VAWA, if you haven't filed your adjustment of status, then once you get it approved, you can apply for adjustment of status to get the green card. As a J1 with waiver, if my contract is expired and my I-130 has been put in? Do I need to go back to my country to wait on a green card? You may still need to wait with the waiver unless you qualify as an immediate relative of a US citizen or you qualify for adjustment of status. This is where the consultation is going to be very important. I urge you to get the consultation before you stay because you want to make sure that you can qualify. Because if you overstay and you don't qualify for adjustment of status, you're going to be in trouble. You're going to get stuck. So you don't want to overstay if you don't qualify to stay. Um, Can you call the field office to check if they get evidence that they requested and I sent it but haven't heard back from them and the deadline has also passed? So yes, there are ways to get in touch with so on my side, where there are issues like this, we get in touch with the sometimes the office by email. Sometimes we can call, and if it's close by, we can go in. However, I'm not your attorney. I don't know what your situation is. So I wouldn't be able to advise specifically, but it is possible to find out if it was delivered. And another thing is you can do info pass at that office too, to find out if they got it. What happens after, so I answered that. And let me go here. While you wait for the VAWA visa, do you get travel documents to travel? Yes, but wait for your travel. And no, with VAWA, you have to apply for adjustment of status to get the work permit and the travel document. And then you can travel on the travel document, but you need to make sure you get legal advice before you leave. Because sometimes even with a travel document, you might find yourself in trouble trying to get back in the country. So make sure you're at a low risk for that happening. Can you have been denied an immigration visa if your passport is left with 4 months after expiration, even if they have had the current passport on it? Yes. So it depends. So when we're talking about a visa, they will not issue that immigrant visa. Now, I have gotten exceptions where there were circumstances in the country that prevented the person from updating their passport. So the embassy told us it's okay. So I contacted the embassy beforehand, told them what the issue was. This was Venezuela. So they were not issuing new passports because of a shortage in the passport papers. So the embassy gave permission for her to be granted the immigrant visa on the expiring passport. However, if there's no such issue, you want to make sure that you get that updated ASAP. Get it expedited to get it updated. Can someone who is at removal of condition stage apply for VAWA? Absolutely. Yes, you can. That is also covered under VAWA. They typically, okay. If you don't have an attorney, make sure you get one because it makes a difference. Is someone qualified to apply for VAWA if they are in a relationship and living together? You have to be married, but keep in mind, I have had cases where we've applied for the T status based on mistreatment and they were not married. But we need to figure out what the facts are to determine whether this is a T visa situation, because they do allow T visas to be issued for domestic issues, but domestic abuse. But there has to be elements that allow you to get the T status. So this is where it's very important to schedule the consultation, because this is where I really dig into your background to figure out what the best solution is for you. Do they typically issue out a 2-year or 10-year green card after VAWA has been approved? Great question. 10-year. It's a 10-year. You don't have to do the 2-year. 10-year, and in 3 years, you get you can apply for citizenship after you get your green card. So it's going to be a 10-year. You don't have to go back and apply again. Thank you, Lindy. Have a great weekend as well. I will see you on Monday. All right, so that's going to be it for me. Thanks so much for your time today. I'll be back on Monday. It has been really busy, so thank you for your patience as I have been not able to make it every single day of the week from Mondays to Fridays, but I'm trying to get back on schedule. We have a lot of people who have joined the SD Law family to get the help they need, and that is very thrilling because we can change more lives. And this is what is keeping us very busy. But I still want to touch base with you and answer your questions. So just look out for me around lunchtime. And I'm still aiming to do this Mondays through Fridays and get back on regular schedule. I'm going to get back on regular schedule, but I just thank you for your understanding in the meantime. Have a great weekend and look out for all the content, the videos, because that can give you some information as well. And remember, get on my schedule because that's how you're going to get personalized legal advice for me to help you to change your life and to fix your situation. But I need to understand what your facts are to confirm whether you qualify. Have a good one. And thank you, Miss Beauty Cake Kitchen. Have a good weekend. I'll see you on Monday. Bye bye.